How the only problem is, such days will not be without Ivisa. Sure, because that's another timeline without her. But can he really make this choice willingly and without regret? No, Ivisa. Throughout the journey, Perseus's expression changed rapidly as the thoughts in his mind swirled, sometimes smiling, sometimes not. If another person had seen this, they would have definitely thought he was crazy. But when he finally thought about it, his complicated and chaotic thoughts instantly cleared up, and he felt indifferent to love, hate, desire, fear, joy, or sorrow. Just like that, he lost both the strength to laugh and the strength to stand. Leaning against the wall, Perseus watched helplessly as his body slid down the wall, collapsing to the base of the wall like a lump of mud that couldn't be propped up. He tilted his head, staring blankly at the empty space ahead, his heart beating languidly. Time and space seemed to freeze. The footsteps grew closer, but he didn't bother to see who it was. He was focused on thinking, trying to regain his strength, so he could go to the restaurant for a proper meal, chat with Winnie and Carol, and make sure he appeared nonchalant and indifferent when Ivisa saw him. That's how he should behave. Instead of looking this horribly ugly now, the mere thought of her leaving him made him feel so lifeless. Who would even bother to glance at such a good-for-nothing? The person finally stood in front of him, and when he saw the familiar clothes, he was stunned. He struggled to lift his head, but before he could, she squatted down. It was the same familiar expression, no expression at all. The two looked at each other silently, until she suddenly reached out and hugged him tightly. This is truly embarrassing. Perseus was completely powerless, letting her hold him, his smile bitter. Compliance +2. Current compliance level, 51. Chapter 181, Two Beauties Enter the City. This was the first time Andre had ever been to such a lively place. When he was in the capital, he was the crown prince with a noble status, but it was precisely because of this status that his every move was restricted, and he could not move around freely or stroll on the streets. The capital city is bustling, but Eagle Peak City is even more bustling, with a touch more wildness and local flavor. He and Payne walked down the bustling street. Everything he looked at was new and interesting to him, and he never got tired of looking at it. Payne was a tall, thin man with an ordinary appearance. He was taciturn and inconspicuous. Even if you walked right next to him, you would not be able to detect his presence unless you looked at him. Andre knew that with Payne around, his safety was absolutely guaranteed, because Payne was the only swordsman who could spar with his uncle Zog and last a long time before being defeated. In his eyes, his uncle was the most powerful swordsman in the world. Payne could be considered the second best in the world. Your Highness, I don't mean to spoil your fun, but while you're enjoying the scenery, please also pay attention to your surroundings, Payne said in a deep voice. There are many adventurers here, and adventurers are all dangerous fellows. Have you ever been an adventurer? Andre asked with a smile. Payne had watched him grow up, and although they were nominally master and servant, he regarded him as a senior. He knew nothing about Payne's background, even though Payne had been standing there silently since he could remember, like an ordinary but resolute rock. Yes, I have. After a moment of silence, Payne said, Then tell me about your experiences as an adventurer, Andre asked with great interest. It wasn't a fun thing, Payne said. That period was very dark for me. Oh, Andre said, since you don't want to talk about it, then don't. Although he was very curious about Payne's past, he didn't want to dig into Payne's painful memories. He doesn't like the feeling of hurting others. As the two walked, they reached the city gate. The area in front of the notice board near the gate was crowded with people. The crowd was chaotic, and all sorts of noises were cacophony. Everyone's excitement was palpable, giving off an aura of extreme fervor. From this day forward, the news of the appearance of the divine ruins will cause a huge uproar, shaking the entire continent and causing large numbers of people to rush there as quickly as possible, even if it means working day and night. The City Lord's mansion is very efficient, Andre commented. It won't be long before Eagle Peak City becomes even more lively and chaotic, Payne said, his meaning ambiguous. Are you also interested in the relics of the gods? Andre asked. My task is simply to protect His Highness's safety, Payne said, and also to assist Lord Zog in deterring and eliminating. Is simply to protect His Highness's safety, Payne said, and also to assist Lord Zog in deterring and eliminating those troublesome villains. Will there be many experts appearing? Yes, including some masters who have been famous for a long time, but have not appeared in recent years. For example, the Heavenly Dragon Adventure Group on the Heavenly Ladder ranking, Andre said. I did my homework on the way here and know that they're the most powerful adventurers, very strong. It seems that one of them has the strength of a 7th-tier adventurer. When discussing 7th-tier strength, Andrei's expression was one of natural awe and longing. Even for him, someone of this level of strength was someone he had to take seriously and even look up to. The celestial dragons. Payne's gaze was deep. They are very strong. Did you see them when you were an adventurer? No. Then you should be able to see it this time, Andrei said. Even if we can't obtain the treasure in the ruins of the gods, if we can recruit these 2 people to serve the royal family, this trip won't be in vain. Lord Zog is determined to obtain those treasures, and I hope your highness will also take them seriously. Of course I value it, but with so many people vying for it, we might not be able to come out on top, Andrei frowned slightly. After all, this thing is so famous that even those who know nothing about swordsmanship or magic would probably be tempted to rush in. Those kinds of people won't live long once they go in, Payne said. In any ruin, the most dangerous people are those around you who have also entered the ruin. This is especially true since it is a ruin of the gods. Many people who are originally rational will go crazy in an instant. Sigh. There's nothing we can do about it. Andrei shook his head. We can't stop these people. They won't think we're doing this for their own good. Instead, they'll think we're preventing them from getting ahead. It would be better if more of these kinds of people died. Your Highness doesn't need to waste your emotions on them. Andrei sighed, said nothing more, and stood there quietly, watching the people who had gathered around to read the notice, excitedly spreading the news. Before long, a large portion of these people will die. The thought of this made him feel rather complicated. These are all citizens of the Empire, he said. Payne did not respond, but stood quietly beside him. Suddenly, the noise subsided considerably. The large crowd was already obstructing normal passage through the city gate, and the military police guarding the gate kept shouting to stop them, but they couldn't get them to back down. But as a white figure appeared, the blocked city gate was instantly cleared, creating a wide road. It was a white horse that slowly walked into the city from outside, causing everyone to flee. Andrei's curious gaze shifted upwards, and he instantly froze, speechless. On the white horse was the face he had been longing for day and night. Ivia. Andrei was jolted, unable to contain his excitement. He rushed over without hesitation, looked up at the person, extremely excited, but when asked to say something, he couldn't say anything at all. He shouldn't have gotten close. He shouldn't have talked to her at all. Knowing this, he didn't prepare in advance. But when he saw her, he still rushed over instinctively, and all the rules he had set for himself vanished like the wind. The horse stopped because he was blocking its way. Ivisa. Looking at that person, Andrei almost couldn't help but sob. Since that incident, he hasn't spoken a word to her in a long time. He silently endures the torment that drives him crazy, but he can only watch from afar. Finally, the opportunity has finally arrived. There is no imposing father here, no annoying Jerome, and even that utterly detestable Perseus seemed to be nowhere to be found. What a golden opportunity. Speak up. Speak up. Tell her how you feel. Andrei kept urging himself on, his fists clenched so tightly that his nails pierced his palms, but he still couldn't open his mouth. He was filled with despair. If he misses this opportunity, he may never have another chance to tell her those things. He tried to catch his breath and started by talking about some trivial things to get the conversation flowing. Where's Perseus? Did he go to see some woman again? Andrei forced a smile, not even knowing what nonsense he was spouting. But he finally spoke up, didn't he? Hopefully, she'll be willing to speak to him. In the midst of intense, anxious waiting, her lips slowly parted. Andrei was overjoyed and almost jumped for joy. Who are you? She asked. Andrei's face instantly turned ashen. You're still angry with me? Andrei's smile was bitter. I'm sorry, it was my fault. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so cowardly back then. I shouldn't have done nothing. I've regretted it ever since that day. Please, no matter what, give me another chance, okay? I promise I won't let you down this time. I don't know you. What are you talking about? She said. Stop saying such hurtful things. Andrei shouted. Let's face this together, okay? Don't run away. No matter how angry you are, you can't pretend you don't know me, can you? I'm. Move aside. I need to get into town, she said. Andrei hesitated, unable to finish his sentence. What's wrong with you? How dare you block Lord Bayan's way? He said he doesn't know you, so what are you babbling about? It's ridiculous. If you don't get out of my way, I'll teach you a lesson. That's right. That's right. Get out of here. Lord Bayan, just say the word, and I'll kill this brat right now. Andrei frowned, looking around, not understanding why these people were suddenly so angry with him. They were all indignant and agitated, which was inexplicable. And what are they shouting? Lord Bai Yin? White Flame. This name, I feel like I've heard it somewhere before. It was you who wouldn't let me pass. On horseback, Bai Yin raised his hand. This was his last chance. Before Andre could react, Payne rushed over and pulled him aside. I'm sorry, Mr. White Flame. He didn't mean it. Please forgive our rudeness, Payne said, bowing. Bai Yin fell silent and lowered her hand. There's an important notice posted by the City Lord's mansion here. I think you should take a look. Upon hearing this, the crowd gathered around the notice quickly moved aside, allowing Bai Yin to calmly ride closer and silently read the contents of the notice. No one made any more noise. Everyone looked up at him quietly, their faces filled with awe and emotion. Your Highness, she is not the girl you are looking for, Payne said in a low voice. She is White Flame, currently ranked second on the adventurer ladder, a 7th-tier mage. Bai Yin, Andre understood yet was confused. Why does he look exactly like her? I don't know this, but please control your emotions and don't offend this person again, Payne said. This White Flame is extremely beautiful, but he is ruthless. If I hadn't pulled you away in time, he would have attacked you severely. Moreover, he is very strong. Even His Highness the Prince takes him very seriously and considers him a major threat. Andre gradually calmed down, his gaze becoming serene. Understand. Even though he already knew that Bai Yin was not Ivisa, he still couldn't help but stare at that person like everyone else. It was getting dark, and the city gates were about to close. A horse-drawn carriage drove through the city gate. Helen opened her eyes instantly, smiling as she nudged the drowsy Lovia next to her with her head. The long journey by car was taking its toll on Lovia, and Helen's words of criticism only added to her frustration. Stop messing around. Lovia glared at her. Cousin, we've arrived, Helene said with a smile. Wake me up when we get to the hotel. Make sure you get a room first, then take me straight to bed. Lovia closed her eyes again, weak and exhausted. I'm so tired. Hee. If you said that to my husband, he probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed for days. Oomph. Who wants to tell him? Cousin, just look out the car window. You'll definitely regret it if you don't. I'm not watching. Let me take one last nap. Oh, only after completely passing through the city gate area did Helen say nonchalantly. His Highness the Crown Prince was just at the city gate. Lovia's eyes widened instantly, and she quickly leaned out of the car window to look back, but she couldn't see anything except the crowded throng. You witch! Lovia glared at Helene with hatred. You didn't watch it yourself, and now you're blaming me? Helene looked completely innocent. You're clearly doing this on purpose. Stop pretending. Ha ha. Okay. I was wrong, all right? Stop scratching me. If you keep scratching me, I'll hit you too. If you ruin these two precious things of yours, you'll never be able to get married. You dare. Don't move. How about I tell you some good news to make up for it? Helene smiled and withdrew her dragon claw hand. What good news? Don't tease me again, Lovia said warily. We don't need to stay in a hotel anymore. My husband will take good care of us, Helen said proudly. Lovia pouted. Where is he now? On another woman. Is this good news or bad news for you? Lovia frowned while also gloating. Not so bad, Helen said calmly. But I'll make sure he can't get out of bed for days. Chapter 182 is here. Have you kissed enough? Ivisa asked. Time had passed, and the light outside the window had turned from bright white to dim yellow. Dusk gradually enveloped the entire room, and the shadows in the corners bared their fangs, beginning to encroach on the surrounding area. Before long, the room would be pitch black. Upon hearing the girl's clear, melodious voice, Perseus's reason returned abruptly, and his confused eyes regained their clarity. He gazed quietly at the girl beneath him. Her excessively pale face was perfectly reflected in the colors of the sunset, but not in a dull yellow. The faint blush on her cheeks resembled a fiery sunset. Just one glance was enough to almost make him lose himself again. Perseus smiled, leaned down, and lightly touched her slightly swollen lips. If you say it's enough, then it's enough. Ivisa didn't speak, her chest heaving slightly. The kiss had been exceptionally long, almost suffocating her. She certainly didn't think there was any need for a kiss or such a big fuss. If it could end there, she would be very happy. Therefore, she dared not speak or make any significant movements. Based on experience, the man on top of her was a greedy powder keg. Even though he was showing signs of fatigue, the slightest spark could ignite him, and she wouldn't be able to get a good night's rest. What's terrifying is that this so-called Martian is sometimes just a look that she thinks is perfectly normal. Sometimes she suspected that this man didn't actually need any Mars. He just wanted an excuse to endlessly plunder her. He would only back down and put on a pitiful act when she could no longer tolerate it and was forced to turn against him. She was really terrified. Actually, she doesn't reject appropriate intimacy. Of course, although she is emotionally detached and doesn't value many things,